This is News 14 Carolina Meteorologist Matthew East. Thank you for clicking on to this Thursday, January 22nd edition of the Carolina Weather Video. And a lot to talk about, really, so let's get into it here. First of all, this morning we have winter weather advisory still in effect for a lot of central North Carolina. That is something the Weather Service has started doing this year when there's the potential for black ice issues. That is the reason the winter weather advisory is out. No precipitation this morning, but that winter weather advisory out because of the concern of some black ice issues on area roadways this morning, especially the bridges and the overpasses, and especially in the spots that still have some snow on the ground this morning. Temperature-wise, pretty cold here in the Piedmont of North Carolina. We are in the upper teens to lower 20s in most instances, so well below freezing. Again, this morning, we have an area of high pressure sitting over Florida, and that is going to give us a southwesterly flow of winds here over the next couple of days, meaning milder weather coming up on the radar across the lower 48. A lot of very heavy rain falling around central California, including the San Francisco area, and also a little rain ejecting through parts of Arizona. A sure sign the pattern is beginning to change. We've had just a huge ridge in the western part of the North American continent and a big trough in the eastern part of the continent. But that's changing now, and we're going to be heading into what we call a split flow pattern, one where we have the northern branch sort of cruising right around through this area, and we'll have sort of some subtropical jet energy moving through the southern part of the country at times. Very tricky pattern to handle in terms of the modeling, and certainly tricky for meteorologists as well. But I think we're getting a better idea as to how things unfold next week. Now, I'm going to show you the GFS into the weekend. Then it's going to be all European model, because I think the GFS with the 0 and even 6Z runs today, I think is way off with how things unfold next week. So let's talk about today. 1 o'clock this afternoon, there's your high pressure over Florida. It'll be a day today with lots of sunshine, highs in the upper 40s, even some lower 50s in spots. Really nice looking day today. Tomorrow, even milder, more of that southwesterly flow moving in. I think everyone well up into the 50s for tomorrow's high temperatures. Wouldn't be shocked if a few spots even managed to touch 60 tomorrow afternoon. But then a cold front drops in here from the north. This is 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon. And I'll mention the chance of some showers around mainly Saturday morning as that front pushes through. Does not look like any heavy rain at all. In fact, wouldn't be shocked if most spots missed out on the rain altogether. And then we're back into a chillier pattern on Sunday. I've left Sunday's forecast dry, but there certainly could be a lot of clouds around and chilly. High Sunday probably in the 40s. All right, let's switch over now to the European model. This is valid beginning Saturday evening, and what we're looking at, the color contours here, that is the 500 millibar pattern, and I know it might be tough to see on the video, but the lines, that's the surface pressure. So I'll sort of point out what we're looking at. This is, again, Saturday evening. Your cold front would be right in this general area, high pressure trying to build in behind it, and you have a lot of interesting things begin to happen out west. This is the relative humidity pattern up at 700 millibars. This is a good way to oftentimes tell where there might be some precip falling, and notice that zone of higher relative humidities, those shades of blue, mainly off to the south of North Carolina Saturday evening. Now let's go to Sunday evening. That's the overall pattern. Notice fairly zonal flow right at this point in time across the southern half of the country. A little bit of a precipitation chance possibly being indicated, especially up in the Ohio Valley. Around here, again, clouds. Can't rule out a little precip Sunday, but for this forecast package, I've left things dry. All right, let's get into next work week. This is Monday evening. Notice this big 500 millibar trough swinging into the western part of the country. High pressure centered over the northern plains. And this is a lot of really very cold air up in this region. And we're going to see this pattern, I believe, get into a configuration where it's going to want to form one of our Carolina wedges with time next week. Now, that's not really happened yet as of Monday. And Monday will be a dry day, the main zone of moisture off to our north. But here we go, Tuesday. And the European begins to cut this low off near and just off the California coast. And you'll notice what's happening here. We have a surface area of low pressure being spun up here on the European and the upstate of South Carolina. High pressure has moved into the New England states, and notice it is beginning to wedge down into North Carolina. in terms of the relative humidity, there you go. That zone of potential precip moves in here on Tuesday, and I have indeed reflected that chance of precipitation in the forecast Tuesday. Now we're going to have to watch very carefully because I think we're going to probably see a situation where the models are underestimating the amount of cold air that could push into our area. So I do think we have the potential, at least, for some type of wintry weather, especially in the northern half of the state Tuesday. I think most likely this would be a freezing rain type scenario, but it's just way, way too soon for any type of specifics or confidence in that portion of the forecast. And then finally, out here to Wednesday evening, that's a look at the 500 millibar and the surface pressure, still that cutoff low off the California coast. And on the relative humidity pattern, still a lot of moisture streaming out into the plain states. And I think we're going to be in a pattern next week where we have occasional waves of precipitation move through. Right now, I think the most likely time's Tuesday, then maybe again later in the week around Thursday. And I do think we have to keep an eye on Tuesday for any signs of wintry precip. Could be something that we need to watch for sure. So we'll keep an eye on that for you as we head through the next several days. All right, that's it for today's edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Everyone have a wonderful day, and God bless.